Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and welcome to a special edition of Newsround for Anfield Index. It is Tuesday, the 22nd of July, and unfortunately for me, it is my last day on holiday. So in fact, when the coach transfer arrives in a few hours, might get a few rays of sun, but looking like that is it. Made my money back on the food and the all-day breakfast and all sorts of things like that, but yeah, we will see what happens. But we're here to talk about the Reds, aren't we, ladies and gents, and everything that is going on Liverpool-based at the moment. And, I mean, you could just jump around here, so we're just going to sort of step right into it. The first place to really start, which this feels like, you know that Titanic meme where it says this has been 84 years, you know, it's that old lady. This is the impending, the possible, potential, maybe bid from Bayern Munich for Luis Diaz, our Colombian winger, the 28-year-old with 2 years left to go on his deal. Now, there's a new character in the mix because Romano's been telling us, you know, for ages that it's coming. And it's not a new character, but it's a new statement, maybe, let's say that. So good old Pipe Sierra, he said last night on his various shows or platforms that a big offer from Bayern Munich should be arriving in the next few weeks. Like, oh my God, just get this done already in order to seal the Luis Diaz move for Bayern Munich. Now, we've had all this, he's not for sale at any price. We know that's Liverpool's official stance. We also know it's really not true. It does feel a deal somewhere around 70 million quid will get it done. And we've seen all the links with other players, of course, but yeah, that's the biggest thing. The only thing that this is just when nonsense comes out, and trying not to be disrespectful, but as Pipe put it in his platform when he was speaking with other contributors, Luis Diaz, he said, is the 18th best player at Liverpool considering he's in the starting 11 each week. Now, there's a couple of things for that. Luis Diaz is a talent. He's been crucial for us. He was crucial for us last season, that title win. Not being derogatory about that at all. You know, do enjoy watching Luis Diaz play, but 18th best paid player. How do you know? Did the 17 before you show you their wage slips? And yes, there'll be certain things that are easy to work out. Of course they are, like Mo Salah, Virgil van Dijk. Of course, the elite players are going to earn the elite bucks, Alisson, etc. But are you honestly telling me Luis Diaz and his camp know the wages of every single other player they've got? Show me a P60, because I want to know how much before I go negotiating. Like, come on, it's just part of the narrative to spice it. But as it stands right now, I'm of the opinion that if Luis Diaz wants to, as I suggested, that badly leave Liverpool, fine, let's move on. And we'll talk about his replacement very shortly. But speaking of other exits, quite a few things were around Federico Chiesa. Now, it was a bit weird this because he was left out the 29-man squad that went to the Far East, and we were told it was a minor fitness issue, which is a little bit strange because he scored in the 90th minute, got the fifth, didn't he, against Stoke, then doing a bit of chasing around to Anfield Index, was involved in all the normal sort of the warm down thing afterwards. So where's he picked that minor injury that's going to keep him out for the few weeks of that Far East tour? I think we all had the same suspicions. You know, time will tell on this one. But Fabrizio Romano said last night, or reiterated last night, he wants to go. Actually said that the reason he didn't go is because Arne Slot knows he wants to go, and there's clubs, especially in Italy, looking at him. So there's various reports I'm looking at here saying AC Milan, Napoli, Roma, Juventus, but probably the key one to call out from a few outlets, Atalanta. So according to a few reports that I'm looking at here, Atalanta are prepared to pay 12 million euros, or set to offer 12 million euros for the player. It is important to say that Romano did mention there's nothing imminent regarding any move, but we'll see if anything develops in this one. Chiesa's got a banging tune, hasn't he? But he's not really banged any goals in particularly, bar the Accrington Stanley. I know the Carabao Cup. It just feels a separation of ways, just feels personally best for everyone. Speaking of people coming in, Justin's brother Nick's been sending up the plane screenshots, hasn't he? That about 9 a.m. he'll be in the air from Paris, only a short flight before landing. And Hugo Ekitike, the Frenchman, will be making his way to Merseyside for his medical. Now, there's various bits coming out that you've got to like about Hugo Ekitike. I don't want to go too much into his stats because we mentioned a lot of that before, but it's who he's turning down and who he's speaking to. We know already early in the summer, Chelsea had a move in place. It looked like that was going to be done, and he pulled the plug on it, clearly because he wanted Liverpool. They were his first choice. Even reports from David Ornstein and others last night that Manchester United had tried to get in the deal, but he made it quite clear that no, Liverpool is the club he wants to play for. We know Newcastle were trying, and again, try not to infuriate Newcastle fans. I know they'll be in the comments anyway, so hello to you all, but you can't help but like a player who's made it clear to three of the big clubs in England that Liverpool is his destination. That is the club he wants to play for, and there's so much to be excited about. Now, shout out to the GOAT, Indy Kelly. He mentioned it was Microsoft Teams they'd spoken on, but Julian Lawrence, Beth Lindup at ESPN, their joint article, both mentioned actually that it was I think they said a Zoom call with Ekitike and Slot, in which he detailed the need for as he put it, a mobile and dynamic number 9 who could combine brilliance on the ball with tenacity and intelligence off it. And we've said before, Ekitike, brilliant carrier, brilliant progressive player. The underperformance of the XG we'll debate for ages. Is probably one for a separate day. But as sources also told ESPN, Liverpool have pulled off a masterclass. And for all the rumours and the talk about how we were going to be 100 million euros, the fact that it is 69 million guaranteed plus 10 million in add-ons, which are linked to player and team success, does, I have to be honest, just seem an absolutely brilliant deal all round. So yeah, we'll wait for the pictures of that. We'll wait for everything going in there. Potential arrival that came back on the radar, Mark Guehi. That had gone quiet, hadn't it? The Crystal Palace and England international centre-back, and we need another centre-back because as much as people will talk about Lucas Diaz and others get opportunities, there's no way Liverpool will go into the start of next season with Van Dijk, Canate and Gomez as the only senior centre-backs and fit. It's probably a word that they'll get bandied around, hopefully not too much in the near future. So David Ornstein was on Sky Sports News last night saying Liverpool are still there, Liverpool still favourites, does expect a deal can be done, that Palace ultimately won't want to lose him on a free, or Guehi is prepared to maybe look at that option. And Matt Law of The Telegraph had also mentioned about Mark Guehi at the same time, saying Spurs were considering it, but Liverpool are still the favourites. So you do just wonder, once Ekitike is done, for me personally, the absolute priority would be get a centre-back in, just because of all the positions you have. That's the one you're shorting, aren't you? Simple as that. So those are the other big headlines. I mean, there's still stuff coming in late last night. We talked about Atalanta. Darwin Nunez is an interesting one. As Lewis Steele mentioned in his YouTube video, Liverpool have got that price, 65 to 75 million, and no one yet has been prepared to meet that. We know about the Napoli failed venture. We've heard about Al Hilal and Saudis, but nothing seems to, as of yet, be advancing on that. So we're waiting for that at the same time as well. And then the other departure, which maybe surprised everyone, because there was a lot of stories about Owen Beck, the left back, going to Rangers with a 10 million permanent deal. However, as John Percy for The Telegraph tweeted late last night, Derby County, remember they had Nat Phillips on loan, are now close to signing Owen Beck on loan for the season. He's expected to undergo his medical later this week. And you forget, Owen Beck played for Blackburn. Who was in charge of Blackburn at the time? John Eustace. Who's in charge of Derby right now? John Eustace. There's clearly a relationship there. And if Liverpool think, that's the best deal they can get for the loan at the moment, absolutely fine. Rodrigo as well. Now, it's important that there were similar outlines from both Lewis Steele, so shout out to Lewis and Ben Jacobs as well, and others have been mentioning it, that Liverpool clearly have a genuine appreciation for Rodrigo. And as a few have mentioned, if Luis Diaz does depart, there's many expect Liverpool to make that move for the Brazilian international. However, as a few are now referencing, people need to get not carried away. There's nothing imminent there at all. Rodrigo's still got to have those talks with Real Madrid, Xavi Alonso, but the super agent, good old Pinny Xavi, still kicking around, isn't he? The wily old fox is there and talking with clubs around this exit. So we will have to see what happens with that one. And you do feel that the other name is, feel harsh for saying it, this kid, because I like Malik Fofana, the young Belgian winger at Lyon. He seems the backup for everyone, doesn't he? That reports that if Rodrigo can't be obtained once Diaz goes, that he is the backup option for us, but also for Bayern Munich if Luis Diaz doesn't go there, that he's Bayern's second choice, which feels a bit harsh on that kid because he is so progressive, he's so young and talented. We've previewed him on TMM before. It will be interesting to see what happens with that kid specifically. This one will probably rumble. We could talk about it every day as well. You know about Alexander Isak. You know it is not done. As Lewis Steele reiterated again, possible. Not likely, but possible. Liverpool are there. And if there is even a whiff of encouragement until Isaac signs that new deal, you know, it could just rumble all summer that Liverpool are not prepared to give up. And even, as a few have mentioned, past this summer, which would surprise me a bit because of his age and all those types of things. But, yeah, that one is just going to rumble, and rumble. But there you have it. Those are the big stories at the moment. That the team are in the Far East. We're seeing interviews with Billy Hogan. We're seeing interviews with ex-players. We'll see all sorts of things. Ekitike, we're waiting now, aren't we? Let's see for the medical. Let's see when he flies out. That'll be a great interview, great footage. Let's wait for the departures. But as we sit here on Tuesday that we are now, it does feel like a lot is going to happen before that AC Milan game, doesn't it, on the weekend. But there we go, ladies and gents. On Tuesday, the 22nd of July, that was a bit of a news round special. Anfield Index.